Now, how the first leg has changed the narrative around this tie. Bayern Munich taking on Arsenal. Arsenal were the favourites going into the start of that first leg in London. However, a 2-2 draw has turned things slightly on its head. You take a look at the predictions. Concerning for Craig, he and Stevie are the only ones that believe indeed that Arsenal will get through. Everyone else has changed their minds to Bayern, with the exception of Jurgen, who I think who said Bayern at the start. Jurgen, how did Bayern not muck this up? Because they do have their momentum, don't they, after the first leg?
They kind of have the momentum. Obviously, Arsenal plays a brilliant season as well and has every quality out there to harm you, to make it really, really difficult for you. But I think, in this specific moment in time right now, that is Bayern finding itself, with losing the German Bundesliga, first time since 11 years to Bayer Leverkusen last weekend. They're angry. They're angry and they are hungry now for the Champions League. They made a fool out of themselves in the German Cup, losing against the third division team. So they are now ready. They are ready for this clash with Arsenal. They are not underestimating Arsenal at all. They have a lot of respect for Arsenal coming to Munich. But it will be a packed house, 70,000. It will be a fantastic atmosphere there. And I think they are, they're just at this moment in time so motivated, so full of energy that they have to prove a point. They have to prove a point to their millions of fans in Germany and all over the world that they are a very, very good team and that they don't want to waste the entire season.
You've got Arsenal. You've changed your mind, I think, after what we saw in the first leg.
What do you mean?
I think when I asked you who was going to go through, I think you said it was like 51-49 Bayern.
Yeah, I did go Bayern, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The narrative sort of swung a little bit, but then the weekend it swung again.
Right.
Neuer's injured. Davies is suspended. Injuries to Coman.
Yeah.
Possible.
Gnabry's out.
Gnabry, Sané, all out or possibly out.
What Tuchel said, didn't he? He said Neuer and Sané will both play tomorrow. So that addresses those, but in that kind of context, how long will they be able to play for?
Right. So that just swung me slightly back to Arsenal, even though they had a terrible result at the weekend and did not play well against Bayern at home. That's for sure. Can Bayern do it again? Have they been great at home? No. Think what Dortmund did to them at the Allianz recently, only 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was embarrassing. But Arsenal will need to play a lot better, and it was the injuries to key players that's kind of swung it back around again for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not super confident in Arsenal, particularly after the weekend, but those injuries to those pacey players, and a couple of them might play, as you said, has just, depending on what Mikel Arteta does with his team selection, and I didn't particularly like his team selection against Villa at the weekend, I've just gone for Arsenal.
He's not going to play the same 11, is he? Well, certainly the same positions that we saw those players play against Villa. Again,
I'm not a fan of Havertz in the middle of the park. I think he's been much better through the middle in big games. You can play him in the middle of the park for Arsenal when you're playing Burnley and Sheffield United and West Ham and this, but in the big games, Rice and Odegaard have played better with a Partey or a Jorginho particularly in there. And Havertz has looked a better player when he's been up front, right? Where he's been using his physicality, he's been making runs, he's been linking up the play. He's not a great goal scorer, but he's up there doing things that are more natural to him.
Well, they don't have an out-and-out striker. You know the one thing that we know for certain Bayern Munich does have? You mentioned the guys that are absent. We know for certain that they have a goal scorer in Harry Kane. Yeah. We know that. We know that much. We don't know what version of Bayern Munich is going to show up. And I have zero conviction in my pick of Bayern Munich because, let me tell you, I've seen, you talk about inconsistent. We mentioned Borussia Dortmund being inconsistent. Bayern Munich have been just as bad in terms of the inconsistency. But to Jurgen's point, they have nothing else. This is it. This is it. So there's got to be a level of desperation for Bayern Munich in terms of how they approach this game and how they approach Champions League. Otherwise, it is a failure of all sorts of failure in terms of what their season has been.
Luis, this is going to be fun. I'm going to get my punter pyrotechnics out again. This is going to be a brilliant game as well, isn't it?
It's going to be, again, an open game. I think they're two fantastic teams, and we are trying to break down who is going to be the winner or trying to find the let's go, but anything can happen because both of the teams are going to be, again, open up and trying to hurt the other one. The only thing is that the guys are mentioning, for Arsenal, they are fighting the two big competitions. the stress, the pressure is quite big on the players. And they had that defeat at the weekend, trying to change your mind and get ready for this game, but also for the game at the weekend, because you cannot leave Premier League. There is a lot of stuff. And last year, it hurt a lot Arsenal in the last part of the season. And I think right now it's exactly the same. The players, they got a little bit more experience from last year, but not enough to play these kind of moments. And for Bayern Munich, they've been there so many times. They know how this is done. And this is the last chance. This is the last opportunity for them to make a good season. And I think that playing at home is going to make a massive move for the players.
Luis, thank you very much. Athletic Barcelona going out. Things can get worse. It's going to be an extra time a little bit later.
Yay!
Jurgen, Jurgen, are you working tomorrow with us as well?
Yeah, because I want to celebrate that win of Bayern Munich tomorrow with you guys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah!
Do you want to hear the most...
Alongside
2 days in a row.
Harry
Calm
Kane
yourself
scoring
down.
against Arsenal.
Do you know the most important thing
Harry
now?
Kane against Arsenal.
Do you know the most important thing for Arsenal now?
What, Craig Burley?
They have to win the Champions League to get into the Club World Cup in 2025. I mean, if that doesn't drive you to victory, I don't know what will. Such importance.
As somebody who hates this competition, you know the intricacies of it quite well.
Yes.
It's quite impressive.
You're in it to win it.
If they don't get in it, Salzburg are going to get in it. Let that sink in.
Flipping heck, Craig.